Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SETI Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Prue, and joining me this week are my co-hosts, Phillip Gilfus and Darren Moser. Hey, guys, good news. I got our transfer orders. We are now going to be newly marooned on a different planet.
Wait, hold on.
That doesn't sound.
We're still going to be
better.
marooned.
Yeah, well, whatever. But some of us are getting promoted, and some of us have to stay.
Did you finally sit down,
think...
Daniel?
Wait. Is that why there's this dagger thrown on the sand between Darren and I to figure out which one gets promoted and which one?
Yeah. I'll snap a puke.
I am yours forever.
I'll let you guys.
I will take your blood to Andoria.
So welcome, guys. We're back to Star Trek here this week. Did you guys do anything fun? You watch any episodes? Or
I think I've been so out of Star Trek fandom, and I've been thinking about this. So, I'm doing Time and Space and Doctor Who and blah, blah, I say that each and every week. But it's been interesting playing this role as someone who's not, I'm sort of intermediate Doctor Who fan knowledge. So there's always much for me to learn. And, there's stuff, there's smarter people than me in the fandom. So it's like a different than Star Trek where... this is going to sound whatever, but I'm pretty much, I know it, I got it. But I'm still learning it, so it's interesting to be in this fandom, because with Star Trek, this would have been high school or something, at this point in my Star Trek fandom. And so, but then on the other hand, when I look at my Star Trek fandom, I'm like, well, is there anything left to learn? Is it just all stale? How do you keep it fresh and new, or, keep it interesting and not just those are the toys I used to play with, let me put them back on the shelf and play with the new toys. And so I think this is maybe what I'm trying to figure out, how do you keep it going? How do you keep it alive? I think always being in a rewatch helps.
Yeah.
And so, because then it's not only you're enjoying what you're watching, let's say you're doing a Voyager rewatch, but it also spurns your mind to oh, that's with Enterprise, or that's with this, you can connect them all together, and it kind of brings back the memories of how things connect or how you would want them to connect and all these fan things. But I think when you're not doing a rewatch, it just kind of festers a little bit. But I don't know, that's just me. So, how are you all enjoying your fandom?
I totally get that, because obviously we're not just fans of Star Trek, and Darren likes that other Star franchise or whatever, and you with Doctor Who and stuff. You get into these different stages, and sometimes it does kind of feel like we know Star Trek, man. But keeping it fresh, keeping it new is always a good thing, and I think that's why I'm going to actually start my. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it, and I think I'm going to start my alphabetical rewatch of Star Trek.
Wow, awesome!
That way, that does keep it fresh and different. You're always, it's so unpredictable and non-structured in the way that you're viewing
alphabetical?
With Discovery Now.
Oh, that's a good. Yes, absolutely. I would include. You know what? And just for the sake of it, I should include the animated series, because I still haven't seen all the animated series. So
I still haven't either.
No.
I'm tempted to just go ahead. I'm waiting on certain people to help me through the series, but as they have not lately, I may finish it on my own.
In fact, in order to hold my feet to the fire right now, I commit on this podcast, I will start watching at least one episode a week, starting next week, and I will report back, going in an alphabetical order of Star Trek episodes.
All right.
So I want to do it because I need that motivation, and that will definitely give it to me. So you guys hold me accountable. You have to say, hey, what'd you watch last week?
And you're like, oh yeah? What escape room did you go to, loser?
Yeah, there you go. So does that mean you're starting with, is it 11001001?
I believe that would be the first one.
1159?
Does one start with a character?
Yeah.
Ooh, 1159 would still not be before. Now, I think 11001 would be the first one. I think so. Probably that one, unless we're all missing something. But watch for that next week. Just a little blurb. But Darren, what about you? Anything Star Trek going on in your life?
Yeah, well, I watched an episode for kind of reflective reasons. I watched Half a Life because this past week we lost Trek alum David Ogden Stiers. better known as Corporal, or not Corporal, but Charles Winchester from MASH, and he played, opposite Majel Barrett in Half a Life, beautifully. Oh my gosh, it's one of those episodes that really gets you. But yeah, so he finally, left this earth, and he's been the voice of Cogsworth. He's been the voice of so many things, but I think definitely MASH is his most, well-known role, but a very, very talented actor. We're really blessed that he graced the Star Trek franchise, even but for an episode.
Well, and I think Half-a-Life, not to be an instant TNG defender or apologist, but because TNG gets ragged a little bit about being happy-go-lucky, but he dies.
Oh,
at the
that's
end.
a dark. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm like, they go there.
No,
it's not old DS9 guys.
Yeah, it's a heavy episode, and it's only elevated by his presence, certainly. So it's sad to see him go, but obviously he leaves behind a tremendous body of work that we can all appreciate at this point.
He was one of the titans of Star Trek guest stars.
Oh, how do you know Phillip has years of experience worth of podcasting? He can pull segues like that out of nowhere. So this is what we're going to be talking about, fellas, this week. I was thinking, well in advance, about a month ago, I was really thinking of topics I wanted to cover. Because I'm a big
sorry,
planner.
the Department of Temporal Investigations radioing me in my ear, and they say it's all lies. Don't believe any of it.
I thought this might have been Mayor Daniel.
I haven't shaved in a few days. So, no, I wanted to. I was trying to think of what I wanted to see out of the Star Trek franchise, and obviously, we're now kind of. I don't want to say midway, but we're into Discovery. But
hopefully not midway.
We also
2 seasons. That's all they get.
And a movie.
And a movie. But you know what? I wanted to pick up where the franchise, where I think most fans, or a lot of fans, certainly probably the three of us, and you guys can tell me if I'm.
Oh, Captain Worf, because we want Worf. Hashtag.
There's Data.
Oh, nothing ever happened of that, which was, of course, obvious. I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot about that campaign. No, where we kind of all thought the franchise was going. But I wanted to talk and maybe just have some fun and write the pilot for Star Trek Titan. I mean, are we going to call it that?
I feel like that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, why not?
I have nothing wrong with the name.
Star Trek
Titan.
Discovery, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, they're all named after the thing.
Except for the next
STT, which is not bad in any combination, so that it passes the fourth grade playground test.
Unlike Discovery, right? Okay.
Oh, so now hold on. Actually, I got to stop you there. So what's the shortened version?
Dang it.
TNG, DS9.
Got me there.
I mean, because then it gets problematic.
Yeah, you're
then
right.
we go to third grade. Does not pass the third grade test.
No, it does
then.
not. It does not.
Because TIT is going to have some problems, is what I'm saying.
But would it be the shortest?
So,
I think
STT.
No, but I'm saying Titan, Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's shorter than Voyager. I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
Is it getting into the month of the year that's short enough?
Oh, you could just write the whole thing. Is
yeah,
what you're
exactly.
saying. Yeah, just Titan.
Like May. Nobody really abbreviates May.
MY. Yeah.
Oh, I was just missing that for a minute, and then I just thought about it. I see what you're saying. I guess it would be
Titan.
Like
just call it Titan. Just call it Titan.
Yeah. You could call it Titan, but if you had to shorten it
or
to
TI,
don't.
Yeah.
Or TIN.
TI would be fun.
TIN.
Guys, no one's gonna buy into it. You're gonna have to go Titan because it's just gonna get problematic real fast.
Anyways, so the last establishing shot of Star Trek Prime Universe. Let's. Oh God, I actually can't remember.
Well, the end
I don't
of
know
Nemesis.
because 2009 is
That's
problematic
true.
there, Daniel. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just knew you would bring that up if you were in my
That's
chair.
a good point.
So.
It is a good point, and actually, we could even keep that in mind because there are some characters that we could have crossover that we know technically where they are in the beginning of 09. But let's just start with the end of Nemesis. Right. And it's tough for me now to remember which is the actual official ending to Nemesis.
Oh, it's the Enterprise being rebuilt. And then...
Okay. So Riker and the Rikers, I should say.
The Troys?
The ship. The Troys. leave the ship, and that's really, I mean, that's it. Like we aren't told they're obviously going on the Titan, but we're told about no one else. I think.
Yeah, Beverly going to Starfleet Medical. Well, I don't know. Even that's a deleted scene, honestly. So yeah.
So this is it, a blank slate to follow up all of the Star Trek that's been going on for the 15 years prior. We have the USS Titan being captained by Captain William Riker.
Captain William T. Riker.
William T. Riker. That's a good point.
See, the problem was that there was a William Riker that joined Starfleet before him, and so he has to be William T.
For
Riker.
a SAG card.
Starfleet card, yeah.
So now I want to establish from the outset that there are a series of novels set.
There are 12
in the novelverse.
Actually,
there are 12 novels.
Not only that, they've also the Titan novels have also the Titan characters and ship and all that scenario has been in other Star Trek novels post Nemesis as well. So this is not technically new ground that we're treading here, but
I believe this is the term called "we're Star Warsing it."
Yes, exactly.
We're taking the novel verse and going.
Yeah, we'll throw it out. Well, actually, before we do that, let's talk a little bit about it. Now, Phillip and I are not really familiar with the Titan scenario in the books, but Darren, you have a little bit of experience. Could you just kind of give us a bit of background of what's going on at the Titan?
Yeah, again, I haven't read any of the Titan novels, but I have read 7 of the more recent books from the Next Gen, I guess. Because they break it up by series. So this is technically the TNG series where it's following like the Enterprise E and Picard. And so it's all taking place, in the beginning they always say this takes place X number of years after Nemesis. Like that's like the marker of like when things happen. And in one of the series I recently read is called Prey, and it was 3 books, and you had all sorts of different characters. You had the Enterprise E with Picard doing its thing. You had the Titan doing its thing. You had the Aventine, which is captained by Dax. And so that was definitely one of those like crossover kind of books. But you got to see the Titan, and in this regard, they were pulled back from their mission. They are kind of deep space beta quadrant-ing it. They're off looking over there to kind of shore up that side of the Federation. The one thing that's really kind of the defining factor of the Titan is it is one of the most diverse alien crews in the Federation. I think 16% of it are human.
Ooh.
So
okay.
I mean, and it's
like
not a
that.
huge crew. I think it's like 300. It's not a giant ship, but yeah. So it really. I mean, you have like everything. Like I think. Yeah, you just have all sorts of different alien species, which lends itself to some really interesting events. As far as the command structure, you have obviously Riker and Troy, and I'm trying to think any other. I think Tuvok becomes head of like security, at least for a while in some of the things I've seen. But most of the characters are new characters. The most of the ones we've known stay on the Enterprise E with Picard. Like Worf is Picard's first officer at
number 1
at this point, and obviously Data is gone. And so
What? Data?
Yeah, so the Enterprise E still has Picard and Worf and Geordi and Beverly, and then Riker and Troy are on the Titan. So but it's really interesting because you really start to get to know these characters, though, as they, expand on them, especially from the different races and such. And like on the Enterprise E, like they have an exchange student, Cardassian, from the same kind of program that's been their con officer for like years. And I'm like, that's really actually cool. Like, I remember that, what was it?
Yeah.
Future Imperfect, or the one where
Yeah.
where Riker was
With the,
false remembering the
Uh-huh.
future. I'm like, everyone saw that. I was like, ooh, that would be kind of cool. A little Romulan or a Cardassian sitting up there. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I know. Is it's a really diverse crew as far as alien species. It's a pretty fast ship. but it's mostly exploratory and just kind of, strange new worlds off in this corner of the galaxy. So not a lot to hem us in, but that's what I know so much so far about, and they've been brought back into the fold every once in a while because we got to have them interact with Picard and, do stuff. Actually, that's the other big difference is by this point, Riker is an admiral, and so there's actually another captain who is captaining that ship, and Riker is attached to that ship, but he is not the captain of it. Now, I don't know if we're going to go that far, but I think in the novels...
No, we aren't.
I think in the novels, it's more that Riker is still just the captain. Maybe I'm misremembering this, but wasn't Wesley involved as well at some point? Was he... I thought he was like... He came back and was the engineer or something? Like, I could be wrong, but... believe so. It's hard because I'm actually rereading another book right now that deals with like totally different timelines and other things, and I'm trying to keep my facts straight. In this one, there's like a planet that's jumping around between dimensions, and one of those dimensions is where Captain Picard was killed by the Borg. So you have Riker over the Enterprise D, and Wesley's like a consultant, but I don't believe Wesley is on the Titan.
I assume this is Crazy Beard Riker.
I hope so. But it's okay. I mean, I thank you, Darren, for that information. But I think, for the most part, we want to just kind of go off and do our own thing. At least that's what my idea for this pilot that we're making. So, we are...
Reboots are in, Daniel.
Yes, they are. But so are continuous universes as well. So if we keep this story going, we could do that as well. So we, the three of us, were the production. We're Rick Berman in 2003, 4. I don't remember when Nemesis came out.
Mm-hmm.
Was it in 2000?
I think it was a little later than that.
I think it was 02. I want to say.
Was it okay? So we now get to decide. We've set up Titan, and that's all we know. We know that
December 02. Sorry,
it's Riker and Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it established in Nemesis, and refresh my memory, what her role on the ship is?
She's still the counselor, I believe. It's just...
Well, I don't know if it's named. It's just that they're going away. So, no. I mean, Darren, you feel free to correct me, but I don't know if it's like, and she's going to be the counselor of the Titan. I think it's just one of those implied and assumed.
I believe in the book she just stays... I don't think she goes on, like, command track or anything like that. She stays in the counselor.
Blue shirt.
Yeah, stays blue.
I would be cool with her going command track. I would not be cool with her being...
I don't think she'd be the XO.
Yeah, because I have... I mean, I know we're not there yet. Because I do have, when we talk about crew members, someone I want to bring in, which then negates, or which then forces
we build the crew
Deanna...
first and then have, like, their mission?
It's a good question. I actually was just going to ask you guys. Do you want to tell the story first and then build the crew around it? Or would you rather have this sort of... And because we're fanboying here. We can just have a dream team of... We've got a lot of characters in the universe that we can play with. Do we want to just get some crazy crew together and then see how that would work?
Let's do crazy crew. I mean, because I think regardless, it doesn't matter.
Worst case, the mission is literally like the books, and it's like explore the Beta Quadrant. Like, that could be anything. It doesn't have to be... We could come up with a more targeted mission, but...
It's a more traditional Star Trek over story. Like it's not like Voyager or
Discovery.
Or Discovery. It's an actual just, go out there and have, do your thing.
I mean, and I did brainstorm a hook, but we can wait till the end for when we talk story.
That's right, because we're coming up with the pilot, right? So we gotta hook people.
This is just the pilot. Yeah. But you can lead into stuff if you have some ideas. So all right, Philip, then let's hear it. What are your? Give us some of your.
We gotta start with
ideas
Riker.
here.
We keep him. I'm just kidding.
We are starting with Riker and Troy. Obviously, that's all we have at this point.
They're the only people who signed the contract. No, okay. No, but okay. So I was thinking, and I know this is kind of cheap fan theory, but I'm going here because I do want new people. But just because we're playing in a post-Nemesis world, I do enjoy doing callbacks to the other shows because, of course, despite them being in all the shows, I think between Riker and Troy, they are ostensibly, of course, the next generation. And so, because we're sort of continuing the 24th century, I do want to have a nod to DS9 and a nod to Voyager. And so I'm trying to think of characters to bring in. But you don't know. Well, in my opinion, you don't want a series regular because look, I know Michael Dorn and Worf can do 50 million seasons of Star Trek, but I'm going to pick someone who maybe hasn't had the fair share of character time. So these are the two people that I've picked from the other shows. So these are not original characters, but original roles perhaps to the Titan. So, and I don't know if this is a pilot. Maybe this is a second season, but since we're talking pilot, I'm going to say it's pilot. So, and this is going to force Deanna to find a new role, and because we haven't established, is this the pilot of like they're just getting on the Titan, or are we doing, they've been on the Titan a year, because you can do both ways.
They just finished the shakedown cruise, and now they're moving on to their.
They've already done the trip to Romulus, right? Because that's what the Titan was going to go to at the end of Nemesis, to do the diplomatic mission to Romulus to follow up on the events of Nemesis. But anyway, is that Ezri Dax? Because the poor lady only got a season, and I think she's interesting. Of course, it's very awkward. He's but we won't talk about that. Seventh season, you have to be his character. You're a beloved character, and everyone's like, "What happened to the one we liked?" But anyway, so Counselor Dax, because some time has passed between the last episode of Deep Space Nine and Titan. I don't know what we want to say, 5 years, but even Nemesis is pretty far in the quote unquote far in the future as far as Star Trek timeline. Janeway's admiral, all that stuff. But anyway, and so I want her then to be the counselor on board the Titan, which then I think you can have Deanna kind of coaching her, because not that Ezri's not the wet behind the ears counselor anymore, but just doing the thing of being the senior officer. And then I don't know what role then Deanna would go into, whether she just goes civilian, maybe they have a child, and maybe I don't know. I'm not trying to do stereotypical woman has to be a mother, but just trying to think of another role, because we've already seen Counselor Troy, so we're bringing in Counselor Dax because we haven't seen her really be a counselor on a starship.
What if Troy becomes the contact specialist? I've seen
first contact specialist,
where so she goes back into getting her advancement training, and now she wants to, because that's literally what her character does a ton of the time. She Picard's asking her, "What are your feelings?" or "What are you reading on this situation?" And she's also been under Picard, so she's had great experience with someone who's really good at first contact.
And who else can speak for the captain but his wife? Going on first contact missions.
See, I think there's just a lot of man. I know in Star Trek we've kind of been led to believe you're kind of free to do whatever you want with your personal life, and that's totally fine. But I think there's the one episode with Dax, by the way, of course, with Worf and Dax, where Worf disobeys orders to go back and get her.
And then Cisco recommends.
Cisco gives him that empty threat. I don't know. I think we have to play it careful with Troy. I kind of like the idea of a first contact officer. What I was thinking, though, if we're going to put Dax on the ship, she doesn't have to be. I was thinking give her the con officer, because Dax Jadzia Dax, who presumably got it from somebody earlier as well, was a great pilot. Why not give her a different role? Something maybe she did the whole counseling thing, and it just didn't suit her after her procedure, and then she comes to find herself more suited to a different role. You could really put her anywhere, but you could definitely put her somewhere where we've seen Dax excel before. You could even put her science officer or anything like that too, and then you wouldn't have to kind of usurp Deanna's position, since she's kind of she's a lifelong counselor. Yeah. So
I don't know. I feel like we've seen Counselor Troy for 7 years in four movies.
That's true.
I'm not negating what you're saying, Daniel, because that's fine too. I think either one would work. But I'm just trying to think of, even if you bring in existing people, and so your point is good, because with Ezri, and this is my Deep Space Nine Dominion War thing, they sit on the Defiant station, they can do anything. Ezri's probably firing torpedoes in the 7th season. Whatever, right? But anyway, so yes, and then I'll just quickly, my second one, and then I'll let you, is so that's my DS9. So for Voyager is hard because there's not a lot of tertiary or secondary characters. It's just, and so this is my idea, because it's going to be a recast because of age, but Ensign Wildman.
Okay.
So it's a different actress, obviously, unless you're just going to pick the young lady who's now grown up, but why? So it's going to be Ensign Naomi Wildman. You could do the cadet, but I feel like it's a little Discovery-ish to do the cadet, I don't want to copy them. But so Ensign Naomi Wildman, and you can do her anything. You would think she might be a blue shirt just because she's following in Janeway and her mom's footsteps of being sciencey, but
I would
whatever.
say she would be command because she wanted to be the captain's assistant. She always kind of had an eye for Captain Janeway.
So she might be a good con officer then, but I don't know. Whatever. She can do anything. Or whatever.
Yeah,
she could be a doctor
like
for all
And
I
that's
know.
where the
Who
ensigns
knows?
sit, is at the con, so.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea of having her there on the bridge as well. And it struck up a thought in my head that you could also easily have Nog.
I was thinking that, but I was like, we saw him a lot. But I mean, that's why he was my first thought. I'm like, he's had his time. He's great though. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, we only saw Dax for a season, but no, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Because
I
by that
think
time he
that
could be
would work.
Lieutenant Commander Nog by then.
He could be up there. I
Second
was
officer or
thinking, could he
something.
be commander? But no, I don't think that's. I think it's too soon. Like you say, it's only 5 years in. From the war.
Oh, tactical
I don't know,
officer, maybe.
He could be tactical officer. I could see that, and he could still be dealing with like the Ferengi nonsense. But nobody takes him seriously because he's a Ferengi.
Well, you're the son of the Grand Nagus.
That's true. Actually, that would be. Actually, that could lead to some interesting storylines, huh?
Kidnapping plots
yeah.
and things.
All right, we're throwing. Okay, so here we go. We're doing this. So we've got Captain Riker. We have
Commander Troy.
Commander Troy
In some role of some sort.
Lieutenant Commander Nog and Lieutenant Wildman, who will just for fun's sake that she is the con officer.
Lieutenant junior grade. That way she's young, but you can promote her later.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. We need to fill
Lots of things.
the.
We need
well,
first
we do.
officer.
We need to fill the first officer.
Engineer.
First officer.
Security.
Mushroom
ops,
operator.
And doc.
So let's go in order. Let's fill first officer.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Who does Riker have?
Alien.
yeah, it's
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
cool
say,
with
so
that.
we're not obviously gonna recast out of secondary cast for everything, right? Like we can have original
No.
characters.
Yeah,
Because
please.
otherwise, it's like the mashup show.
No, yeah, totally. It could be something completely. It could be a Kelpian.
or a what was Phlox? I like
Oh, Denobulan.
Yeah, the ones
Could be
who've
Denobulan.
been there forever, right? We've just never seen before.
Actually, I would argue that Darren. I'm sure you have ideas.
No,
Let me
go
just
ahead.
put two things out there. It should either be Andorian.
Oh, of
but
course.
we did get a lot of Andorians in Enterprise, or it should be.
Don't say
God, help
Tellarite.
It has
Oh,
to be.
God.
We need
Okay,
some
I vote
exploration of Tellarite.
Andorian.
They get old
then.
quick.
Yeah, I
Andorian.
yeah. Let's
I say
make it
female Andorian too.
female.
Okay.
Wait,
I'm
wait,
cool with that.
wait. Do Andorians have another gender?
They do. They have three genders.
Third gender. I don't know.
Third
I don't want to
gender-
be
that's actually
inappropriate, so I will say them, they.
That's actually a really good idea. I think. There's a lot of story potential there to explore.
And as a third
you know,
gender,
how that
Riker's probably not going to try to hit it because he's also.
I remember the last time Riker had to deal with non-gendered species.
Oh, Riker.
Okay,
so
cool.
Yeah, I like
okay,
that.
so brand new
An
character.
Andorian.
Them, they, yeah.
Third gendered Andorian is the first officer. So you have somebody who is you cast this sort of well established actor or actress who can kind of feel like that sort of
If he was still alive, I
neutral?
would totally say like David Bowie, but
Oh,
You know.
Bowie?
well, I'm like, is there I'm sure there is, but like a female Doug Jones, someone who can bury themselves into that role, like Doug
sure
Jones
there
can. I know, of course, Doug Jones is a very extreme example because of his talent, so it doesn't be that radical. But just someone who's sort of melds into their own. So that with the Andorian,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. I like that idea. And then, of course, new characters. So, like you say, Darren, it's not just becoming the mashup
Right.
show. But
um,
so, what do we think about? And I thought about this: the idea of, and you could do this in any way that you had an idea for, but you make the chief medical officer another EMH. Now, whether it's a different version,
like a Mark III or
of-
something.
Mark V
Exactly.
or something
Whether-
at this point.
It could.
Yeah.
It could be it could be a version of Bashir.
We're not
It could
casting
be-
Andy Dick. I'm just saying.
No, we're not
No, we're
casting.
no Mark II, no
Everybody's
Mark
on the
I.
table except Andy Dick. No, it could be like the Bashir version, maybe when he's older, or it could be the next version that we don't know that the character it's based off of, but it could be still in that same vein, and we could kind of explore how that's.
What about this? I like it, but to make it not an exact copy of Voyager, what if you have a CMO who is a person, but the sickbay has been restructured that their right-hand person is an always-on EMH? Because Voyager proved that that's a beneficial system to have. So basically, he's no longer an ECH, which is emergency, not
command hologram.
Yeah, not EMH.
You want the emergency medical supplemental hologram,
right? So this is like the like SMH, like the supplemental medical hologram. Like they're not necessarily just for emergencies.
Mm-hmm. So like the nursing staff, possibly.
Well, I was thinking like, with if we had like a crew that was so varied, like alien wise, like we don't have to go into detail, but if we kept that aspect as well, having a holographic doctor that's on call all the time that had the medical knowledge of all these species makes sense.
I was just thinking, and again, we don't have to do story now, but if they're in a certain sector of space, and I'd rather it not be something we know, but for a placeholder, because I feel like we did the story before. Was it the Enterprise C or B when we talked about Romulan space or something? But anyway, as a placeholder, it's not going to be Romulan, but for Romulan space, so that because maybe there's not a lot of knowledge, what they've done is they've taken all library knowledge that there is, created a holographic structure so it's just one expert, because they're in this sector of space. But like you said, it's sort of the assistant or the consulting
regional manager.
Yes, but anyway, the assistant CMO, because of course, Daniel, I don't know if you know this. There's some Star Trek shows where you don't even have to show the CMO.
Don't even start. All right, okay, cool. So we kind of have a broad idea what we want to do.
Because I could feel like, especially in the pilot, you could have Ensign or Lieutenant Wellman going like, yeah, I have a lot of experience with these. It doesn't always work out.
Yeah, you could do that.
Kind of like in
right,
Aliens, where she realizes Bishop's a synthetic and she kind of freaks out. Naomi's like, oh, we have an always on EMH. Great. That's always going to work. Well.
She's like, the first important thing is finding him a name. Trust me.
And yeah, just give him a name.
So
don't ask him for a name. Just
don't overthink it.
Okay, so what do we have left? We have
engineer. Come on,
engineer,
because some shows don't have a chief engineer.
Hush.
Some shows have two, or presumably two. Anyways, yeah. What do we got? We have plenty of. We could put Wesley in there.
We could. I don't know.
I still like the thought of like another alien character. Like,
all right, who do we got? Who do we want?
A new alien? Like a new alien?
Hey, let's break stereotypes.
Okay.
And make
it a Tellarite then.
No, we already did that.
Well, who's the Tellarite?
Oh, well, we talked about
Yes.
it anyways. Yeah, I suppose we could make it a Tellarite. I was going to say make it a we built things.
Oh, Pakled?
Pakled. Dear Lord.
No, we can't. We can't in good conscience, because that was kind of a mean joke almost.
That episode is worse every time.
If any race that's kind of uninspected but also could be interesting would be, I would say like Cardassian.
Yeah, but
well, I wouldn't say they're unexplored, Darren, but I get what you're saying.
Well, yeah.
How about I like the idea of
a good Cardassian.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Well, yeah. If the first officer was Andorian, we could make the chief engineer like a super hyper competent engineer, like the best engineer,
a genetically modified engineer, or like.
Well, we can't do that.
No. Yeah, make it just this.
The Scott. Yeah.
He would be the best engineer that Starfleet's had in generations.
Because we haven't had that. I mean, LaForge is good, but he wasn't the best engineer, right? He got promoted up through the ranks. O'Brien was good, but in a non-com. So, but and then you had B'Elanna, who sort of fell into that position. So we haven't really had, as you said, the Scotty, if you will.
That's true. Or the Trip, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
Yeah, just make him the best of the best, and he just kind of has to prove himself because people assume things. Hey, you have cloven hands or whatever. Make up some.
So we're going Tellurite.
Yeah, Tellurite. We gotta be
Tellurite.
Yeah. Because here's the thing: Tellurite is the only. There's 4 founding members of the Federation, right? It's Andorian, humans, Tellurites, and Vulcans. And we know now a lot about all of those races except for Tellurites.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting. You could even do what I would call a doctor approach, where you just, in the pilot, just get sort of a kiss of an introduction. Like, stay out of my engine room, you're blah, blah. And so we're like, oh, well. And then we come back to him in the later part of the season where we learn more about him.
What if we did, instead of the superhuman, like, I'm still open to that, but what if we did an arboreal? They were basically the
dolphin.
No, not. Oh dear Lord,
Commander Flipper.
No. And the arboreals were.
He's captain of engineering now, Captain Flipper.
I guess what I'm trying to mean is like the primate kind. Yeah, so
arboreal.
So arboreal. That's like the ape.
Oh,
one.
Xindi.
Yeah, the Xindi ape that developed a lot of the tech for the sphere.
Actually, it's a good idea to. I would say it's a good idea
because we got to know that one scientist really well that regretted what it was used for.
Yeah, the Xindi we really don't know a lot of. I mean, we do, but we
don't know anything beyond Enterprise. So
yeah, so it'd be nice to revisit them. I like that.
That's cool.
I like that.
That's cool. All right, cool. What are we missing? Are we good?
Okay. Well, no. Okay, so
we need security and ops and science.
Well, I think Nog.
Yeah,
is
we did
security.
Nog for security / tactical.
Okay.
Ops and science. Now, I would also throw out that every series does tend to create a position sometimes. So, what new position do we have on the Titan? Whether something that we've always had but never seen. So, like now we get the.
I'm picking one.
Okay, go ahead.
Fungal inspection.
I am picking one. You can call it computer specialist or information.
Ooh.
Yes,
the IT guy.
Somebody that understands how all this information flows between different things. Oh, it bothers me so much.
He sits down at the bar and it's like, let me tell you why holodeck energy is different than all other energy that runs this ship.
An engineer is very, very different from the person that can make sure everything is working on your stupid jet.
Well, I've always wanted a role like that, especially with how much data and reporting they do. Like, there's got to be someone maintaining the computer in some way. You can't think how long it would take to defrag a computer that's 10 decks tall.
Data has to go to sleep in order to do it, so
Yeah, and it would be, I don't know, and maybe I guess we can go just human for that one. Why not, right?
Let's do human, but I'm not saying full cyborg. I'm just saying I want him to have
You never go full cyborg, Darren.
But I'm just saying I want him to have a little bit of tech in his wrist or something that he can interface. Think like less advanced than a tricorder, but more advanced than a pad. So it's if he needs, it's actually a tool that works. It's like a tool that works really well that he can interface with a computer, but it's not like he can download things in his brain. It's more just like a tech tool.
Now, what would you say of the backstory? Did he modify himself, which is sort of the gray area of genetic modification because it's technological side of it?
Yeah,
or are you saying he lost an arm and then boom?
Oh, so he's like an amputee, and he doesn't have.
Well, because technically Nog has robotic leg. But,
true. I guess I'd lean a little more towards column A, where he's But actually, if you did B with it,
because I think that would be an interesting gray area of
But if it was a prosthetic from a lost something, that also you add some inclusivity in Star Trek of people with prosthesis. So that's not very bad thing.
And it's fair to say that absent the young crew members, these should all be Dominion War veterans. So there should
that's
be.
That's actually a really good point. That is interesting too. That could kind of shape the.
So we had Robo Face. This is Robo.
I was
Arm.
just going to say, compared to Robo Lady,
Ooh.
it could be Robo Lady's son
yeah.
or grandson.
Well,
Look,
grandson. I
they
think,
all
at this
don't
point.
know each other. That's not how it works.
Hey, it's not like Robo Lady is a major player. We don't even know her name, so.
We do know her name. You just won't remember.
Well,
it.
whatever. It's the same thing. If I can't. No, I'm good. All right, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do we real quick before we leave the crew because we've been talking for quite a while?
Did we hit ops though? That's the one last position I don't think we had. I don't know if we need it.
It can be rotating background character until
There
we
you
find
go.
someone.
There you go.
You know,
And then we'll promote him in the second
my
season.
one
Yeah.
thing I want to see. We only got one episode of it. Is the human Vulcan hybrid who actually acts more human than Vulcan instead of the other way around?
Oh, in E2.
Yeah,
or
we get it in
whichever
we
one
get
you
it
call
in E squared, and I thought it was I really love that character, but obviously between Spock and now
Tuvok.
Tuvok,
T'Pol.
but, and Michael now.
Burnham.
Michael, who was actually 100% human, but still acted more Vulcan than human. I want to see a person of mixed Vulcan human heritage who actually embraced their humanity.
You could have the Romulan Vulcan, the Savick that was never to be.
That's a really good idea too. Yeah.
Ooh.
And having a Romulan on the bridge would be interesting as well.
Because it's just, the post-Romulan, whatever we're calling it, it's post-Nemesis, obviously. So the curtain has fallen, the wall is down,
Yep.
So then you have Riker, but then as far as alien crew, you have an Andorian as the first officer, you have a Ferengi as your security, you have a Romulan as your ops, and you have an Arboreal as your engineer. So,
Tellarite as our, Oh, no, Arboreal, you're right. Sorry.
and
a Trill as the wherever.
And,
and
a Trill
Counselor
as the Khan.
or whatever.
And then
Khan, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much all your key players, except for your med is a hologram. So it's the USS
Assistant
Diversity.
to the hologram.
And that's the thing. If you're going to play with these tools, man, play with them. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if it's like Enterprise, you don't make the 1.5 token characters aliens. Why not just go for it? Go for broke and enjoy. I guess a cost I assume was probably associated with that, but still, just if you're going to play in that sandbox, you might as well use all the
economics of our pilot are slightly
Exactly.
different from what you're used to.
Okay, so there we have our crew, or a rough outline. Anyways, let's talk about the story. What story? Let's say that the Romulan stuff is fixed. "Quote unquote" fixed, right? After Nemesis, of course there's a 5-year period, or
Well, they're not a threat because their plan is be
everything.
gone.
Well, this is before.
Is this post-blow up or pre-blow up?
Well, I don't know how many years are there technically between. I think there's like a bunch of years between 2009.
That's true.
So
That's
so
true,
this
I
is
think.
pre-blow up, but this is like crumbling Romulan society. This is why they can't get themselves together to fix their.
Well, because remember, after Praetor Shinzon, he literally assassinated the whole Senate.
yeah.
Like that's gonna kind of be
So
hard
the
to come
provisional
back
Romulan government?
So
from. Ooh.
You know how that goes.
So let's say that we leave because we've talked about the potential.
The paw race are like yoink. There we go.
I could see. Well, anyway, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I
I
was
think
just
you're
gonna
finishing
say,
a thought. I don't
let's
wanna
just say that we're not going to focus on the Romulan aspect of the universe because we've done that before.
Right.
So let's just say that we want to do something new. Do we want a big baddie for the whole series? Do we want to establish something early on that kind of shift Star Trek in an interesting way, or do we want to kind of just establish the characters as the baseline and then we can figure that stuff out later?
I
This
kind of
was-
vote for. I'd just say I'd vote for characters because with such a species diverse crew, I mean, yes, they're all Federation and they're all Starfleet, so you have that, but you're still gonna have. I mean, look, when we had exchange student Mendon on, I mean, there was hard enough getting
We
him.
need a Benzite.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
do need a Benzite.
and we do need a Benzite now. But you know what I mean? Like, I think that would be an interesting way to
Chief
take
Medical
Star
Officer.
Trek. Oh my lord. And he pumps the whole sickbay with that breathing gas.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys deal
Yeah.
with it. I don't wanna- but no, I would say this would be a very cool interpersonal kind of Star Trek. Like, yes, you have the baddies and you have the adventure, but it's really about how we're keeping this crew together because it's so diverse. And yes, that you have the backbone of Starfleet and the fact that, they're not going to all mutiny against each other, or like there is a chain of command, but they all do have different cultcultures and societies and ways about doing things. And, I think that would be really interesting to explore.
Yeah, and because I think especially if you're doing a couple dynamic with the captain, and if you're keeping Deanna as the counselor or not, they both have a set of skills where he's the captain and has to keep this diverse crew together, with the captain role with
Right.
religions and beliefs and traditions of these people to work together. And then you have Deanna, who's having to make sure people who are offended by that, or who are this enemy, or who and that's a whole other diversity of the emotional and one thing I was thinking of as far as story, and it's a loose one, but I feel like it needs a hook, because I was thinking about, okay, what is the world today, versus a couple of years ago? And I was thinking, like, in Star Trek, we sort of have these nation-state threats, right? The Dominion, the Romulan, whatever. But that's not today. Today, threats are not countries. They're little organizations. They're all this. They're all that. And so I was trying to think that kind of the story of this, and I don't know how you would put it together, basically is the Titan is, whether it's on the, I know it's so cliche, but on the edge of the frontier of Federation space. But I think that they're sort of patrolling Federation space, but I think there's different parts of the Federation where because of these pockets of organizations or whatever that are either I don't want to say terrorists, but are sort of offering different points of view, and so they're sort of patrolling Federation space and having to deal with Federation planets or societies or things that are deciding, maybe the Federation isn't for me. And I know this is sort of a darker view than you usually think I bring, but I think because what this will deal with, especially with this diverse crew, is having to confront the modern realities. Of course, this is the future that we know post-Nemesis, of the meaning of the Federation, the meaning of Starfleet. Are we providing what people need? Does this Prime Directive stuff make sense? Because they deal with this society that has this issue. They go to this other planet that has that one. And so I think it's sort of confronting Federation principles in the face. Now, of course, the reason I'm pitching this is because Federation principles and Starfleet principles will be shown to be great. Even though, the darker view, I know the modern, bleak dystopia would be that, oh no, you're terrible, you're not who you think you are, the Section 31, all that. But I'd rather it have I think there's going to be some good stories or bad stories about the principles of Federation and whether they stand up to all these sort of planets on the edge of having to make the choice, maybe we should leave the Federation or whatever. But that was sort of just because it's still, you're traveling on random world, planet, or space station or whatever, but that's sort of just working the Federation space and patrolling to make sure that these folks stay in the Federation.
You're saying kind of like almost like a census, like they're keeping stock of like what's been going on, and which kind of makes sense after like the Dominion War and all of these things. I mean, yeah, it's been a little bit of time since then, but still, that was a huge conflict, and that would be interesting because I also feel when you were talking about that, Philip, it made me think of like mirroring real life. Like right now, like America has this thread in its culture that wants to be very isolationist, that is like just America, but that's very difficult because we're so interconnected nowadays in our planet. And so I think I'd like to tie that thread into yours, where as we're going around to these, I mean, they've said several times that there's like 100 something worlds in the Federation. Let's go see some of those, and you're going to find the discord and you're going to find the different groups, and not everyone is still going to agree with how the Federation's been handled, but you would have that growing dissension voice that's like, well, we don't, we need to focus on us, and we need to be, put us first. And it's like, no, but then the overall better message that's coming through is, but we're all better together when we stay together, and that's epitomized by this diverse crew.
Well, and maybe another group is recruiting, like in other words,
like a separatist group.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't again have to be necessarily the villain, but a contrast. And I'm just going to make, and I know this term has been used in Star Trek before, but I'm just going to make this up. You guys can change it. It's a workshop. But like the first Federation is basically saying, look, the Federation's dead. To use the Insurrection, which is a weird movie to draw from for y'all, I know. But where he was saying like the Borg, right.
Every major power has gone up against us in the last 15 years.
You're dead. They smell death from you. And so this new group is saying, and again, it's not going to be one Romulans or Vulcans. It's going to be the diverse set that is saying, you know what? Forget the Starfleet and Federation. Let's start over. Those ways are dead. Look at all the corruption they've done. Because you get to focus on the negative things that have happened with Federation, and Section 31 or whatever. And so it's the contrasting view of, do you defend the Federation, or maybe they do have a point of view, or maybe they are really sinister and they're whatever. You can explore that.
So there's already a built-in mechanism to do this in Star Trek, and you just mentioned them, Philip. Now there's been people who would argue, and I would count myself among them, that they've been overused. But I think that there's a different angle here if you use the Borg, especially to contrast the diversity, specifically the diversity of this crew. Now, imagine, so the Borg are not above using systems already in place. They took Picard and made him a different person and used him as a spokesperson. Now, that was a very limited time frame, of course, and a very limited sort of in a limited way. But what if
human, you think in such three-dimensional terms?
What if the Borg had access to social media, or access to, and they weren't trying to compel people violently to their side, but to say, hey, look, we have unity here. Everything about us is one. We face the problems together. Everything is the same. The sameness.
But of course, that's the lie.
Of course, it's the lie. But
the unity. I don't know. It wouldn't be unity, but I play with that term because the United Federation Planet, it should be like the new unity.
The union.
The union. Yeah. So, but anyway, because I could see
the first
it where
something.
We would do a sort of discovery promise. That'd be like, look, the Borg are just going to be this first season. We swear, guys. But like, we're in the pilot, whatever, and there's this contrasting organization, and they're like, I don't know, maybe they make good points, but then in the last sort of scene, the power behind, and I don't know if you want to show the Queen or whatever, but you should basically reveal that it's sort of the Borg are behind.
And it would be so much. It would be, it would be very sinister for the.
Makes them sinister.
Yeah,
again.
It would exactly. It would make the Borg a credible threat. If you're not violently coercing people, but actively recruiting them, there's a lot of parallels to current.
Daniel, are you saying that the Borg will interfere with the next Federation presidential election?
I'm not saying that they would, but I'm not saying that they wouldn't. That sort of thing would be really interesting to play with because as much as we've gotten of the Borg, they also have to evolve to survive. And maybe they decide after the failures of First Contact and all that sort of thing, they need to change their tactics. And they're
going to adopt human techniques.
Exactly. And they have a message that resonates with. And then, of course, you have this super diverse crew on the Titan, and they're at the forefront of saying, no. Diversity is where it's at. These principles are, and then
we're better because we're
exactly,
different,
and
not because we're the same.
And they can visit planets and situations and stations where the legacy of the Federation has not turned out well for even value neutral reasons. It's not that the Federation's evil. Well, I hope it isn't. But you know what I'm saying? The sort of tertiary effects and secondary effects. Like, oh, well, that makes sense. There is sometimes collateral damage
or
and
again,
this and that and
they're
that.
part of the Federation, but they could have just been warp capable like 3 years ago. And it's like they're
well,
not...
that's insurrection again. Because remember, we picked up a lot of people just because. Remember those short people? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. With the headdress.
Yeah. And again, the Union is offering a vision of they're crumbling. They're still rebuilding from the Dominion War.
Right.
We're new. We're the future. Join us.
I think there's a lot.
We don't have these pesky rules.
A lot of potential drama there. I mean, you could really mine that for a long, long time. And it's interesting in a way that Star Trek, and it grays the line a little bit, which I know some people make.
And then guest episode Lieutenant Annika.
It would be, you would have 7 in this universe.
The Borg, Who do I know that's an expert on the Borg?
It would actually be
The list is not very long.
it would actually be interesting because you could easily have Seven as like the dissenter of that group, who would be looked at as like traitor, traitor 7 or whatever you'd call.
But basically, she's the she's the Worf. Basically,
Yeah, exactly.
Like as Worf was to the Klingon Empire, Seven would be to the Borg.
Yeah, but I could
turned her
see it. And you can put her in the role, and again, like a 3-parter. Like,
Sorry,
she's not going to be part of the series.
One little thing,
but,
I can just picture the Borg being like, okay, we need a name. The Collective. No, 2 on the nose. Two identifiable. The Union.
I'm trying to remember, what was the name in the Voyager of the good Borg Collective? I can't remember. It was
Unimatrix Zero.
No. The one that kidnapped Chakotay.
Where they went to heaven? No, that was the Unimatrix Zero, right? Yeah.
No. This was like first season or second season.
I don't
where like they kidnapped Chakotay and they revealed themselves to be former Borg, and they ended up assimilating Chakotay.
Oh no, that was way further than season 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah, that wasn't season 2. But I know what you mean. Like they were trying. Like 7 accidentally linked them together into a mini.
No.
Oh,
it's
not that
before
one?
7. Yeah. Give me 5 seconds.
I don't even remember these people.
I do remember I remember the planet that they were on, but anyways, I think there's a lot of potential to be mined there.
Unity. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. What season was it in?
Sure. All right. Season 3.
Yeah, but I think Union is a good.
So the Borg Union, and they've reformed. You got to imagine, for some people, well, maybe 25% of the people, you would think that the Borg would offer a sort of
the cooperative.
Well,
sorry.
and it's the give up option.
Yeah.
It's the people who don't want to try anymore, and that's the exact opposite of Starfleet and the Federation. Like they're just like, I just don't want to have to think. I don't want to do. I just want to be, and that's what.
It's so hard to be good all the time.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's no more pain. There's no more hardship. There's no more suffering.
There's more sickness.
Yeah, it just is, and that's an easier option.
It's
and
all
it was like being inside joy. It was a blanket, and you can wrap yourself on it. Yeah, because I like it because you can. A lot of these episodes are going to be able to criticize the Federation and in a authentic way, because again, it could be good people that are part of the Union, or the people are being convinced by it. That it isn't necessarily always going to be the Borg, puppet mastering. I mean, they are, but convincing these good people, and that they can critique the Federation and maybe critique modern society in legitimate ways. And Riker or our characters can say that's legitimate. However, blah 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 blah. But or they poke holes in their character backstories of like, and that's why that happened and that happened.
But at the end of the day, the Titan crew is the best example of the opposite.
Exactly.
Of a group of really diverse people working together in harmony.
And that's why they overcome. That is the reason you write it. That is the reason that they overcome every time.
Right.
Because they choose that path. So.
And I think Riker's command style would lean to that, in the fact that, I mean, again, to use our Benzite analogy, that caused a problem that episode. The fact that he wouldn't give a report until he had all the information and a solution. I'm thinking something similar, where the Arboreal, yes, there's Starfleet regulations which he adheres to, but the method he works with his department is like this super hierarchical, way that they do things, and it's like, and Riker's got to navigate that, and how different species. Again, you have that framework of the Federation and Starfleet, so that they're not all going off the rails, but but I mean, just Nog as security, just an Andorian, which we still don't know a ton about, I think
especially they, how do you, and this is, guys, this is going to be the metaphor. Are you sitting down for this one? Discordant and different instruments having to make the same melody, just like in jazz.
Jazz would be a huge theme on Titan.
It could be like Cowboy Bebop, and the name of every episode is like a jazz number.
Yeah, how to improvise, how to be on your own, the solos,
real quick, just a couple of things. I know we're closing out with this, folks, so just bear with us here. I know we're only trying to focus on the pilot here, but I'm going to do real quick first season snippets. First season, Phillip and Darren, how early in the season, what episode number are we going to see Minuet?
Oh, I think it's gonna have to, in my opinion. Okay, how long are we doing? Like Discovery number? Like it's gonna be like 13 episodes.
Maybe the holographic doctor is trying on different skins, and one of them is Minuet, and Riker's like, no, not that one.
No. Riker just does that little grin he has, and Deanna's like, no, I don't think so.
I don't think so. EMH Mark 4.
How many episodes until we see? Oh God, help me! What's his name? Thomas. Until we see Thomas.
Oh God, Thomas.
Now, I mean, and that would be, and I know this is very cliche.
I'd say season 1 cliffhanger.
Yeah, because it serves as a mirror. I know we played with that Nemesis, and perhaps too much, and it's too obvious. But I think it would be interesting. It could be sort of an Equinox, and I don't know if people like Equinox, but anyway, from Voyager. But it could be
Thomas
sort of
gets
that.
under Will's skin like no one else.
Right. Because he revealed, again, that's the part of the series. He's giving the critiques of Will.
Gosh,
in
what
a
if
legitimate fashion.
Would that be too much to make Thomas like one of the head people of the Union?
I don't
Oh, that
think
would
it
actually
would
be really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, and this also reminds me.
I mean, it's a lot on Jonathan Frakes to play 2 roles. But...
Well, by the way, did I tell you he's directing all of these?
Yeah, that would be actually really interesting. And also, I was going to say how long until we saw Loaxana. Of course, it's unfortunate that Magella is no longer with us, but
yeah.
She would at least be referenced, of course, right? We
Well,
could get a nice send-off moment,
we
like
could.
Diana reading like a letter from her or something similar to.
Deanna
like
does
Star
have
Trek.
a step sibling.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask.
Remember, Loaxana was pregnant in Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's true.
I was going to ask: is there a mirror Bill? Oh, not Bill. God, Thomas. Is there a mirror Thomas Riker? If so, are there 4 Rikers between?
When you flip the coin and then you flip it over again, it doesn't just turn into something else.
It's too many.
You're hurt. You broke my brain.
Sorry,
there
I
too
just
much.
thought about that. It popped in my head.
He actually puts on the beard instead of
Anyways,
tearing
this
it
is
off.
actually- this
I
is
think that Thomas is the mirror Will. So
Not necessarily, but yeah.
I do like the idea of Thomas being like the Borg spoke.
like he's total, but he doesn't know. He's totally bought in, but he
Right.
doesn't know. I mean, nobody knows. That's the key. It's just it's the Union and they're very deep puppet masters. Like definitely a lot of intermediaries, and he has no
Yeah.
idea. But he's preaching the gospel.
Yeah, he's just charismatic and yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah. And he's thinking, because coming from a Maquis standpoint, of which didn't work out, I know, but he's always searching for the
talked
leadership
his
role that
way
fits him.
onto the bridge of the Defiant. I mean, that's
And it's like
he
a
is
broom closet,
charismatic.
so it's
for
not
sure.
that hard. So put him.
Borg Queen, I have nothing to say to you. I think you know why.
Okay. Anyways, so we went all over the place. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Maybe we'll follow it up sometime.
Maybe because we have new Trek now, we don't like. It's easier to come up with new Trek.
Right, and it's not like you're stuck for some reason in canon rules for some bizarre.
Just do whatever you
It's-
want.
You're the
It's almost
future.
like if you go forward, you get to move wherever you want. Yeah. You say, yeah, exactly. If you're on a beach and you decide to stop and turn around, you can only go back the same way that your footprints already are. But if you're going forward, you can go anywhere. I don't know. That was a terrible analogy. I just made up.
Right into the ocean and drown.
Or into the ocean and drown. Anyways, guys, that was a lot of fun. Super good time. But Phillip, if people want to get a hold of you and talk to you about why you think this diversity is a good thing, how would they do that?
They can reach me on Twitter at @NCPublicServant.
And Darren, what about your love of Tellarites? How are people going to get a hold of you?
Yeah, Tellarites are the best. They can find.
I think we had traumatized them too much in
you
the RPG.
did. Flack. It's funny. I was actually re-listening to our RPG episode, and I was just laughing. It was such
It's
a good
so
time.
much fun.
I revisited that one and our animated series episode with
Star Trek Stream.
Star Trek Stream. Oh man, it was so 90s. Oh man, it was so good. Just like this episode. But no, they can find me on drsci-fi.com or Instagram, DRSCIFI.
And if people want to get a hold of me, they can find me on social media at OneUpDan. That's the number 1, not the word as in the Prime Universe, as still, as always, the best. Okay, guys, next week we will be talking about something super interesting, won't we?
So next week, Daniel, we're going to talk about ships again, not just the Titan, but other ships. And I'm going to pose the question to you, and all three of us will reveal our thoughts. If you were to serve on a ship, what ship would it be? But the key is you cannot pick an A-cast ship. You can't be the Enterprise, you can't be Voyager or the NX-01, none of the ships that have focused the story. But you could be... I would even go say maybe Excelsior, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want you to pick like one of the Romulan ships or
Crazy Horse,
or like the Sutherland or something like that, So like, just to get out there with a different mission, a different type of ship,
So not the Yamato is what you're saying.
I mean, if you want to blow up, you totally can, but that's,
okay, cool. That's a cool idea.
That's your call. So come up with one or two ideas of where you would, you didn't get, your test scores weren't quite that good, Daniel. You didn't quite get the Enterprise.
The Defiant. I'm talking about the Constitution Class 1.
Your guidance counselor pulled you in and said, hey, we all want to go to the Enterprise, but it's good to have options laid out. So
there's a space dock waiting for you.
So pick 3 ships, maybe a space dock or 2, and we'll see what your Starfleet SAT scores say on your placement.
Spoiler: nobody will.
That's what we're going to be talking about next week.
Nobody will pick the Mars Defense Perimeter. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well,
that's why it's so small. Nobody picks it. They can't get enough pilots.
It's a safety school, though. If you,
man, I would love to see the recruitment posters for the Mars Defense Perimeter.
Defend Earth. Join the Mars Defense.
Wait,
Perimeter.
is that like sort of like Community? You may have already graduated.
Anyways, it's been great talking Star Trek tonight, and we cannot wait till next week. But for now, I'm Daniel Prue.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Darren Moser.
Stranded here on SETI Alpha 3.